Welcome back to EDU-Tutor. Today we want to look at May June 2019 Principles of Accounts Paper 1. So let us begin. The first question says a trader had an opening capital of $3,900. If his drawings were $900 and his closing capital was $4,860, what was his net profit? So what we would do, we recall the formula that we use at the bottom of our balance sheet, which is opening capital plus profits minus our drawings is equal to our closing capital. We're going to now substitute the values for these items. So our opening capital is $3,900. Our profits, we don't know that, so we put X, and our drawings is $900. Our closing capital is $4,860. We work with the side with the X first, so we say 3,000 minus 900 will leave us with, 3,900 minus $900 will give us 3,000 plus X is equal to 4,860. Now we want to get X on one side by itself, so we bring over the 3,000. So a positive $3,000 brought to the other side of the equal sign will now become a negative $3,000. So we get 4,860 minus $3,000 is equal to 1,860, hence the answer is C. Now, a company's rent expense account had an opening debit balance of $2,000. During the year, $6,000 was paid for rent. At the end of the year, there was a closing debit balance of $1,500 in the account. What was the rent expense recorded for the year? So we add up the opening balance of $2,000 plus the $6,000. That gives us $8,000. And we subtract the amount that is still remaining in the account, which is 1,500, and that gives us 6,500. Hence, the answer for number 2 is B. In a partnership, which of the following transactions is compulsory? Paying of salaries? No. Interest on capital? No. Interest on drawings? No. Sharing of profits? Yes. We have to share our profits. That is one requirement of a partnership. Which of the following terms describes the exchange of goods and services? Is it a journal, a transaction, a balance sheet, or a trial balance? The answer is a transaction. Number 5. Which of the following best describes the double entry system of accounting? A ledger account must have two sides. An account must be written twice in the ledger. Each transaction must be written in two subsidiary books. Or each transaction must have a debit and a credit side. Of course, the answer is D. Number 6. Which of the following items are examples of current liabilities? Now we know that mortgages are paid off within 30 years, and a current liability should be paid off within 12 months, right? So a mortgage cannot be a current liability, it has to be a long-term liability. An accounts payable, that is a current liability. And accrued wages, those are expenses owing. Now, prepaid expenses, those are assets, but expenses owing are liabilities. Therefore, our answer would be 2 and 3, which is C. Which of the following is usually used to complete a general journal entry? Is it a narration, a description of assets, a description of liabilities, or a name of the book to which entry must be posted? The answer is a narration. The purpose of an electronic clock card is to record employees' skills, employees' attendance, jobs done by employees, or deductions from employees' wages. The answer is employees' attendance. All right, number 9. The cash book is best used for recording goods sold for cash, goods returned for cash, goods purchased for cash, or cash receipts and cash payments. That is it. Cash receipts and cash payments. Item 10 refers to the following data, which pertain to Tarisha Ali, an employee of a bank. The monthly salary is $3,500, the overtime is $800, and the income tax rate is 25% on every dollar above $2,000 of monthly salary, and 30% on overtime earned. The total income tax to be deducted from Tarisha Ali is, so we're going to find 25% of the amount, the excess of $2,000 of her monthly salary. So 25% of 3,500 minus $2,000. That is basically what we're finding. So let us put that in our calculators. Now you should get $375. Then we're going to work out 30% of her overtime, which is 800. So what is 30% of 800? And you should get 240. Now we're going to add those together. So 240 plus 375 will give you your answer. And our answer is 615. Now, a businessman offers a discount for prompt payment of goods purchased. Under which column in his three-column cash book would this discount be entered? Is it the bank, the cash, the discount allowed, or the discount received column? All right, so you have to think about who we're referring to. So the businessman is selling goods. Even though it says purchased here, he's the one selling the goods and he's offering prompt payment. So therefore, it must be discount allowed. Item 12 refers to the following information, which relates to Jim's salary. So we have net pay, tax, overtime, union dues, and pension plan. What is the sum of the money Jim receives as his gross salary? All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to add net pay or overtime or tax or union dues and or pension plan. All right, so we just don't add overtime. So we're going to get 1900 plus 125 plus 25 plus 150, and that will give us 2200. All right, so that is our answer. Number 13. P. Hawk has a manufacturing business. The cost of his raw materials is $1,900. Rates and rent total $2,000, and factory wages amount to $2,500. The number of units produced is $640. What is the cost of one unit? All right, so we're going to add up our expenses and then divide it by our total. So we're going to get 1900 plus 2000 plus 2500, and we're going to divide that by the 640 units. All right, so what do you get when you add 1900 plus 2000 plus 2500, and then you divide that 6400 by 640? Of course, you're going to get 10. So therefore 10 is our answer. Now, control accounts are kept in order to assist management in locating errors, increasing profits, limiting drawings, or limiting expenditure. We keep them so that we can locate errors. So the answer is to locate errors. The balance of an accounts payable account is entered in the balance sheet under the heading. Is it capital, fixed assets, current assets, or current liabilities? It will be current liabilities. because we previously said that accounts payables, those are expected to be paid off within 12 months. How does an increase in bad debts affect a sole trader's financial statements? Do we increase the net profit, decrease the net profit, increase the gross wage, or decrease the gross wage? So we decrease the net profit. All right, so question 17 says a trader received an invoice for $4,000 less 25% trade discount. Subsequently, he returned one eighth of the goods. What amount would be entered in his returns outwards account? So, firstly, let us try to calculate those figures. So, the first thing that we have to do is that we have to find the trade discount. So, $4,000 multiplied by our 25% would have given us our trade discount, which is equal to $1,000. Therefore, the value of the goods in the business is $3,000. And if we returned 1/8%, that means that we can divide it by 8 to find out how much we returned, which is $375. All right, so that is the answer. Mr. Abel and Mrs. Blue purchased goods on credit valued at $50 and $75 respectively from Mr. Kane. Another customer paid cash for goods amounting to $550. Mr. Kane took goods at cost for himself amounting to $500. Which of the following figures represents a total in Mr. Kane's sales account? Now we know that the goods that he took for himself would not be considered sales. Those are drawings. So we're going to add up everything else other than that figure. So we're going to get 550 plus 50 plus 75. And how much would that give you? 675. So therefore our answer is C. Now number 19 says which of the following accounts are nominal? We have wages and rents, stock and debtors, machinery and plant, and creditors and fixtures. And number 19 is wages and rent. Number 20, when a proprietor withdraws cash or other asset from a business, what effect does it have on drawings or capital? So does the money withdrawn from a business, does it increase drawings? Sorry, does it increase capital? Does it decrease capital? Does it decrease drawings, or neither drawings nor capital is affected? So what do we do to drawings? Do we subtract drawings from capital or do we add it to capital? We subtract. Therefore, capital is decreased. So remember the formula that we did at the start? That is what I'm speaking about. Now, a standing order of $25 for insurance appears in the debit column of the bank statement. This amount does not appear in the cash book. How is this item treated in order to update the cash book? A. Credit the bank account with $25. B. Debit the bank account with $25. C. Add $25 to the bank statement balance. Or D. Subtract $25 from the bank statement balance. Alright, so if it's on the debit side, we know we need to put it on the credit side. So it's going to go on the credit side of the bank's account. Now, the trial balance is prepared by using balances from the ledger, journal, sales book, or purchases book. It is the ledger. Item 23 refers to the following information. A calculation to determine gross profit percentage is as follows. What does the 529,800 represent? Is it total purchases, cost of sales, total sales, or gross profit? So it is total sales. Do you remember the formula? It is gross profit divided by total sales multiplied by 100. Now, Mrs. Smith does not keep proper records. She began her business with $10,000 in its bank account. She uses her vehicle and building worth $6,000 and $15,000 respectively as part of her business. Customers owe her $4,000. She withdrew $1,500 for personal use and owed creditors $2,000. What is her closing capital of the business? All right, so again, we have to do some calculations. Total assets that she started off was 10,000 plus 6,000 plus $15,000, and she also have $4,000 that customers owe her. So we're going to add up all of those figures. So 10,000 plus 6,000 plus 15,000 plus $4,000, and what will that give you? So that gives us $35,000. That is our assets. Now let us find our liabilities. She has creditors of $2,000. That is our liabilities. So 35,000 minus $2,000 will give us 33,000, and also her drawings is 1,500. And we know that we have to subtract drawings from capital. So 33,000 minus the 1,500 will give us 31,500. All right, so 31,500 therefore would be our answer. So we used the formula, which is capital is equal to assets minus liabilities. 31,500. All right, let's just move on to items 26 to 27, which refer to the following table, which shows a trader's operation at the end of the trading period. What is the cost of the goods sold? So we have sales of 83,868. Inventory at the start was 9,850. Inventory at close is 11,075. We have purchases of 52,640. Purchases returns of 762, and discounts allowed of 911. How do we find cost of goods sold? So cost of goods sold is equal to open inventory plus purchases minus purchases returns and minus closing inventory. So let's put those into our equation. So we're going to have 9,850 plus 52,640 minus 762 and minus $11,075. How much will you get? So now we're going to get 50,653. All right. So you can pause the video when we're doing the workouts and see if you get the correct answer. All right. So we get 50,653. What is the gross profit? So how do we find gross profit? It is sales minus cost of goods sold. Good. But we also have a sale return. So we have to keep that in mind as well. Let me just. So to calculate that, we are going to have to add, so it's going to be sales minus cost of goods sold. And in this case, we have sales returns. So we also have to subtract the sales returns. because that means we did not sell those items. So in total, we're going to get 83,688. So it's 83,868 minus 1570 minus 911. And that should give you 31,645. All right, so the answer for that question is 31,645. Number 28. When a trial balance fails to agree, the difference is entered in a control account, a reserve account, a provision account, or a suspense account. It is a suspense account. Number 28. The working capital of A. Young and Sons is 15,500. The total amount of current assets is 16,500. What is the total amount of current liabilities? So how do we find working capital? So they gave us the working capital, they gave us the current assets. We're supposed to find the current assets, current liabilities. We know that working capital is equal to what? Current assets minus current liabilities. And in this case, we have 16,500 as our current assets, and we're going to minus the 15,000. Sorry, we have 15,500, which is our working capital, and that is equal to 16,500 minus x. So therefore, what is x? X would be equal to 15,000, 16,500 minus 15,500, which is equal to 1,000. All right, so we move on. Which of the following items are not recorded in the appropriation account? Is it interest on loans from partners, interest on capital, or withdrawals from partners? So number 29, our answer would be B, 1 and 3. Which of the following accounts shows how profits and losses are shared among partners? Is it the current, the appropriation, profit and loss or income and expenditure? So number 30 is appropriation. During the year, a company bought stationery for $220 and used $120 worth of it. What is the expenditure for stationery that would be posted in the profit and loss? It is the 120 because that is what we used for that year. Only 120. A motor van was credited from AG Motors for use in a business. How should this be recorded? Is it A, debit motor vehicle account, credit bank account? B, debit motor van expense account, credit bank account, debit purchase account, credit AG Motors account, or D, debit motor van vehicle account and credit AG motor vehicles account? The answer is D. Number 33. Which of the following are long-term liabilities? Is it creditors, debentures, accrued wages, or bank overdrafts? We know that creditors, accrued wages, and bank overdrafts are current liabilities, so debentures is a long-term liability. Cash sales were not entered in any books of accounts. This is an error of omission, principal, commission, or complete reversal. It must be an error of omission. So that's A. Number 35. Which of the following are benefits of using accounting software? 1. Integrated analysis of information. 2. Almost immediate updating of records. Or 3. Programmable. 2. Recognize irregular entries. And it's all three of those. Now, number 36. The total credit of the bank columns of a 3-column cash book is greater than the total debit. The most likely reason for this situation is that A, there was an overdraft, B, transactions were omitted from the debit side, C, some figures are overstated on the credit side, Or D, incorrect transactions were entered on the credit side? The answer is A. There is an overdraft. That is the only way that the credit side is going to be greater than the debit side. Now, item 37 refers to the following information. What is the inventory at the end of January? We started January with $1,500. We purchased $1,200. So 1,500 plus 1,200 will give us 2,700. And then the cost of goods sold is 1,400. So we subtract 1,400 from 1,700, which will leave us with 300. So number 37, the answer for number 37 would be D, right? So it would be D. So we get 2,700 at the top and we subtract 1,400, which will give us 1,300. Now, number 38, Adina Williams is a petty cashier. If she has a float of $200 and she spends $180, how much should she be reimbursed at the end of the period? So at the end of the period, she would have $20, and we know that she needs to be reimbursed so that she gets back to $200. So therefore, she needs back $180. All right, so I don't know what's caused that. So we're going to have B, which is 180. All right, number 39. Which of the following is a book of prime entry? Is it an invoice, a balance sheet, a sales ledger, or a sales journal? And we know that our original books of original or entry or prime entry would be our journals, so it must be D. A non-trading organization is mainly concerned with importing goods for resale, trading only with wholesalers, providing various services for its members, or making maximum profit for the proprietor. Since it is non-profit, it must be providing some form of service to those who are in that business. Now, a sole trader uses his trading account to determine super profit, gross profit, net profit, or surplus. It must be his gross profit. Now, profit and loss would have shown you the net profit, but the trade account is for the gross profit. Item 42 refers to the following information provided by K and Friends. What is the bank balance in the receipts and payments account of K and Friends for the year ended the 31st of July 2018? All right, so we have some working out to do here. All right, so it's going to give us now um, we're going to add those figures that we get. So purchase of refreshments, that is money coming in. We have a bank balance of 700. So we're going to add the purchase of refreshments to the bank balance. We're going to add purchase of furniture as well. And we are going to, proceeds from raffle, I should say. We're going to add that. We're going to subtract the purchase of furniture. We're going to add the sale of equipment, and we're going to add the donations to charity. We're not going to touch the depreciation of furniture because depreciation is not money coming out of the business. It's just the loss of value of an asset. And we're not going to do anything with stock as well, right? So let us do those. So we're going to get $700 plus 1,500 plus 600, which is for the sale of the equipment. We're going to also have to subtract the purchase of the refreshments and the purchase of the furniture. So minus 500, minus 500. And also the donation that we make to charity. Now we should get 1,600. All right, so that is our answer. Now, which of the following states the correct order of the stages of the accounting cycle? A. Post into ledger journalizing trial balance. B. Post into ledger trial balance journalizing. C. Journalizing trial balance post into ledger. Or D. Journalizing post into ledger and trial balance. Of course, we know that journaling is first since it is the book of prime entry. And also, we know that trial balance is last because that is final accounts. So, therefore, we have to post to the ledger after we journalize. And the answer is D. 44. Mr. Green and Mistress Brown agreed to establish a partnership and each deposited $5,000 into a bank account, Green and Brown Co. How should this be recorded in the books of the partnership? A. Credit cash, $10,000. Debit capital, $10,000. How do we normally record money coming into the business as capital? We have to credit capital to show that capital is decreasing and debit the it says it's deposited into the bank account, so we're going to have to debit the bank account. All right, so looking at those options, where do you see the answer? It will be D. 45 refers to the following summary of receipts and payments for a club on the 1st of March. What is the cash balance at the 31st of March? So we received subscriptions of $300. Then we're going to minus the rent that we paid. We're going to purchase games and equipment. We had postage of circulars, $20, and proceeds from book sale, which is a positive figure of $250. So that's 300 plus 250 minus 150 minus 60 and minus 20. And that should give you $320. S&B Limited net income for the year was $89,000. Of this amount, $8,000 was transferred to the General Reserve. Preference dividends were paid of $2,400 and ordinary dividends was $6,500. The value of the retained profits for the year was, so how much did we have remaining after we did all of those? So it's 89,000 minus the 8,000. So put in brackets 8,000 plus 24 plus 6,500. Put that into your calculator now. So we have 89,000 minus open bracket 800 plus 24 plus 65 close bracket. And that's 79,300. All right, one of those figures. We have 800, but it should be 8,000. So we have 72,100. That would be our answer for 46. Now 47. A mechanic starts his business with $10,000 worth of tools. What entry should be made to record this transaction? So we have to debit the asset account and we have to credit the capital account because that is what he started the business with. So which one of those? We see the answer. We see it at C. When writing out the books of a partnership, which account must each partner have? Is it a bank account, a current account, a savings account, or a fixed deposit account? Of course, the answer for this would have been a current account. 49. An asset purchased for $1,000 depreciates at the rate of 10% per year using the reducing balance method. What is the book value of the asset at the beginning of the third year? So therefore, 2 years have passed already. So we're going to find the depreciation that would have been gathered on it so far. So 1,000 multiplied by 10% is 100. So if 2 years have passed, we know that $200 of depreciation have already gone on the asset. So the book value of the asset for the beginning of the third year would have been $800. All right. Please remember, if you have any questions, please send your questions in the comment section below. Oh, there's a mistake that we just made. So it's the reducing balance method. So the first year would have been $100. The second year, we're going to subtract that $100. So you're going to get 1,000 minus the $100 from the previous year, which would have given us 900. And then we're going to find the depreciation we charge on the asset for the second year, which in this case is going to be $90. So therefore, the value of the asset for the third year would have been $1,000 minus the two depreciation so far, which is 190, which is going to give us 810. All right, so the answer should be B and not A. All right, let's move on to question 50. Which of the following accounts are usually transferred to the trading and profit and loss account? Is it rent, premises, and joins, rent, purchases, commission received, rent, and purchases, or purchases, furniture, and commission received? All right, so we know that the trading and profit and loss account does not have joins. So those with joins would not be the answer. Now, does the furniture account goes to the trade and profit and loss account? No. So therefore, it's the commission received, rent, and purchases. An example of a capital expenditure is money spent for paying rent, paying wages, purchasing goods, or purchasing a new building. And we know that capital expenditure is money spent to buy assets, fixed assets, or to improve the quality of a fixed asset. So therefore, it's going to be D. 52. Amalgamated Components was a private company until it admitted additional shareholders by selling shares on the stock exchange. What do we describe amalgamated components as? No. It must be a public limited company since it is selling goods on the stock exchange market. All right, so item 53 refers to this diagram. What is the cost of raw materials available for production? So if we have inventory and we purchased 4,500, or inventory available for production must be 5,300. All right, so it's 5,300. Number 54. To which account should depreciation of office machines be transferred? Is it the trading, manufacturing, profit and loss, or appropriation account? All right, so the answer for this would have been the profit and loss account. The reward of profit received by a shareholder in a limited company is interest, joins, dividends, or commission. The answer for that would have been a dividend. 57. Which of the following may be used to calculate the cost of production? And for 56, we know that to calculate cost of production is prime cost plus factory overheads plus open work in progress, and then minus or closing work in progress. So it's going to be D. 57. Fisc company's accountant has not recorded rent owing for the period. Fisc accountant has violated the concept of the rule of. And 57 is accrual. No. 58 says the purchase of equipment on credit will affect a firm's balance sheet by. So if it's on credit, we're going to have to increase liability and increase assets since equipment is a fixed asset. So we're going to look for that in the answers. And that is A, increasing assets and increasing liabilities. 59, which of the following is not considered a source of document for the payroll? We have an electronic time card, a medical certificate, an attendance register, or a clock card. And that answer must be a medical certificate. We don't need that when we're calculating payroll. And Mr. Amos is employed by a construction company at a rate of $7 per hour. During the week of the 6th of April 2018, he worked his basic week of 40 hours. The income tax due on his pay is $20, and he's also liable to pay Social Security contribution of 5% of his gross pay. What is Mr. Amos' net pay? So even though they gave us all of that additional information about the tax and the Social Security, without the pay that we get when we multiply 7 hours and $47 at 40 hours would have been 280. So 7 multiplied by 40 would be 280. Now we need to find what his contribution would have been, which is 5%. So 280 multiplied by 5%. So we're going to get 280 multiplied by $14. So therefore his net pay would be equal to the 280 minus the $20, which is his tax, and the $14. So in all, you're minusing $34 from 280. So 280 minus $34 would give you 246. So therefore, that is the answer. All right, so thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to subscribe to our channel and share this video to somebody else who may be in need of this video. All right, thank you. Bye.